Hello, this is Debbie Lynn Toomey, Tufts Medical Center's Injury Prevention Coordinator. You're watching Aging Strong, which is found under Health Links. Aging Strong is sponsored by the Quincy Health Department. Today, I have two guest speakers, and they are going to talk about summer safety. And I have with me Sophie Gordon. She's an Emergency Preparedness Buddies Program Coordinator from the Office of the Emergency Management. And with her is Sarah Schaefer, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator from the Brookline Public Health and Human Services. Those are both mouthfuls.
Ladies, our business cards.
Your topic is so timely. And I know you're going to be covering so many different aspects of what it takes for all of us to have a really healthy and safe summer. So welcome.
We're honored that you asked us to come speak about summer ready and summer preparedness. Maybe we can start the slides now for our presentation.
Yep, let's see.
So one of the reasons we talk about summer preparedness is that heat is the #1 weather-related killer in the United States. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. Every year, about 1,200 people die because of extreme heat. And believe it or not, but most of these deaths could have been prevented with some preparedness. And we always focus on our vulnerable populations when it comes to heat, and especially heat and older adults. And the reason is that older adults do not adjust well to sudden changes in temperatures. As we age, our body has much more difficult time with extreme heat. The second reason is that older adults are more likely to have chronic medical conditions that can change the normal body response to heat. And they can also take prescription medications that can affect the body's ability to control temperature or even sweat. So those are very important things to take into considerations as we age when it comes to summer.
All right, I think the sun is coming out now, which is perfect timing because the sun is strongest between 10 and 4, also during the summer months and at high altitudes. Sunburn and skin damage can occur even on cloudy and overcast days. So you have to keep that in mind. Just because the sun's not out doesn't mean you're not gonna, feel those rays. And, we're talking about UVA and UVB, all sorts of UV rays. They can also cause damage to your eyes. So I know I'm wearing my UV contacts right now, which is pretty cool that my eyes are sort of protected without my glasses. But you just want to, watch out for your eyes and make sure you're protecting them. Overexposure to UV can lead to skin cancer, and skin cancer is the most common cancer in the US. I think a lot of people think that, there's other cancers that are worse or more dangerous, but your skin is your largest organ. So it's really important, and it's really important to protect yourself and protect your skin. Next slide. So how can you protect your skin? So there's lots of different ways. The first is wearing a broad spectrum waterproof sunscreen. And so I'm sure everyone, has seen the sunscreens that are out there. But we are, like I said before, broad spectrum will filter both the UVA and UVB rays. And you want to make sure you're at least 15 or higher on your sunscreen.
I went a little overboard. I went with 50.
Depending on your skin, how fair you are, you're probably gonna make a decision based on that. But and remember, don't be like my kids that just put on sunscreen once for the whole day. You need to apply every couple hours, especially if you're in and out of the water, if you're sweating, if you're drying yourself off, you're wiping off all of that sunscreen. So make sure you're reapplying every couple hours or so. And also the sunscreen is really only good for one season or 1 year. So make sure that you're checking out those expiration dates. If you find sunscreen from 2004, just throw it away, get rid of it, and get some new stuff. You want to make sure it's the most efficient it can be. You could also stay in the shade under an umbrella or a tree. You can still enjoy the weather if you're in the sun, and the effects, just as long as you're under something. I know in the summer, you're not going to want to, if it's really hot, no one's going to be wearing long sleeves, but you can wear long sleeves, long pants just to protect yourself as well. And I feel like more recently they're coming up with, better technology and fabrics and stuff that are, with the
UV protection.
yeah, the UV protection in clothing. So there's long sleeve clothes that are real lightweight and actually it's not going to make you too much hotter to have that, to be more protective. Also sunglasses. We brought our sunglasses today. Are also going to be helpful for okay, I can't see anything with those on. Are going to be helpful for protecting your eyes, and then of course, a hat. Now, Debbie, we have a question for you.
Yes.
Which hat do you think is going to be more protective? My hat or Sophie's hat?
Well, I would say Sophie's hat because the brim is much wider.
Yes, exactly. So, if you're wearing, say, a baseball cap or maybe a visor, you're not protecting your ears or the back of your neck. Sophie has a really nice wide brim hat. It's also a light color. My hat's a little bit darker, so it might be a little hotter. She has the strap underneath, so it's not going to fly away if a big gust of wind comes along. So her hat is going to protect her nose, her ears, and her neck. So
And let's be honest, I'm more stylish.
yes, she is more stylish in her hat.
I didn't want to say that, but okay, yes. Very good point, though, Sarah, about the brim and also the color of the hat. Very good point.
Yes. Okay, next slide. So we don't want to, we can't talk about summer without talking about going to the beach. And one thing that is super important, that people may not be aware, is just the importance of a properly, put up beach umbrella. So, people might not know this, but every year people get injured or impaled by like flyaway beach umbrellas. It gets windy and those things are like a giant sail. They pick up and, the wind picks them up and then they can be deadly. Some people have died from injuries that they've sustained from being hit by a beach umbrella. So it's a real serious topic. And so we just want to bring awareness to that, to be aware, be safe. If you do have a traditional beach umbrella, the safest ones are going to have like a vented fabric top. And you can see we put two pictures here on this slide. So the top picture is your standard beach umbrella. I can't actually even see if it has a vented top, but if it does have a vented top, the wind can, that can help move the air through. I also would encourage you to kind of tilt it a little bit into the wind so that it's less likely for the wind to get underneath it and pick it up. You want to make sure that the pole is sturdy. And remember, on the bottom is going to be a giant spike. So that's the dangerous part. So I don't think that a lot of these beach umbrellas don't come with like a sand anchor or any kind of safety device. So this would be something that you'd have to get in addition to the umbrella so that you could add to it. But it's really important to have some kind of anchor or safety device. That can look like several different things. It might be some kind of container that fits around the pole that you can add sand to. It might just be a weight that somehow connects to the umbrella, anything like that. You can get these things on Amazon or anywhere online. Some kind of sand anchor or safety device is imperative for this type of umbrella. So the second picture on the bottom is a picture of this really cool like tent type of structure that I actually purchased one a couple of years ago. And so it's a very thin kind of stretchy Lycra material. And you can see the sides come down and you actually fill those pouches with sand to keep it anchored on all four sides. And then there's 4 very lightweight aluminum poles that you put on each corner. And then you use just like an elastic band to tie it around the top of the pole to the top of the tent. And so we can, they come in different sizes. But the great thing about it is the whole thing is very lightweight. It may take a little bit longer to put it up than the umbrella. Actually, sometimes if you're rocking that umbrella back and forth, that can, take a long time, but it goes up pretty easy. The wind goes right through it. And if the wind did pick it up for some reason, the poles are attached. So even if they did fly away, they don't have a giant spike on the bottom of them. So they're probably not going to be too dangerous. And so this would just kind of fall over if the wind, took it up. But it's super portable. It comes in like a bag that's maybe like 2 feet and really easy to bring anywhere. So I highly recommend this type of sun structure for the beach.
Yeah. Is that easy to set up by yourself, Sarah?
It's not bad. It's easier with 2 people, but it definitely can be done. It definitely can be done by yourself. Yeah, absolutely. The poles come apart, and it fits really nicely in this bag. But
and this is a big one. I mean, they have smaller
Yes.
ones. So if it was just 1 person or 2 person, you could probably find a tent that is more manageable to set up with just 1 person.
Yeah, and you can also just do the front 2 poles and have it slant down in the back. So you can do different variations. You don't have to put all 4 in.
Yeah.
But I love it. It was really key for a number of days, when we were all burnt at the beach and had to get under the umbrella.
Yeah.
But also one more thing just to say about the regular, your standard beach umbrella is just not to leave it unattended. So if everyone goes into the water, just make sure you close it, and that's the safest thing to do when you're not near it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have been on the beach when it's like really hot, and then all of a sudden this big gust of winds or, all of a sudden comes and everybody's chasing their own umbrellas. It's like rolling across the beach, and it's just, it's really, it can be very dangerous. It can be comical but at the same time, there's so much danger in it because the wind can just, you never know what the wind will do with the umbrella. Will it kind of roll it? Will it,
Or
open
it
it
could
up,
fly and then
inside out?
land. Yeah.
No, it's super dangerous. And I've
Yeah.
seen it happen
So many times.
so many times.
So believe it or not, I may be a little rude, but when people all leave and they, all leave their towels and the umbrella's still open, if it's windy, I just go and close their umbrella.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's safety right there. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
All right, let's get to the next slide and talk a little bit about tips to stay cool. So, it's really, really hot. What are the things that you can do to actually feel cooler? So, one of the first thing I would say is that, stay cool indoors. If there's extreme heat and your body is overheating, stay in air conditioning. In an air conditioned place as much as possible. Seek, if you don't have AC in your place, seek a cooling centers. I know all communities open cooling centers. I mean, most communities open cooling centers during a heat wave. So, one of the reason AC is important is that using a fan, just a fan, gives you a false sense of cooling, but it actually doesn't cool your body temperature. So even though you think that you're being refreshed a little bit, your body is just overheating. So, this is great. It's a little fan and it gives me some air and I feel much cooler. And yes, for a few seconds, I feel a bit cooler, but really my body is still overheating. The second thing I would say is, wear appropriate clothing. It's summer. So think about loose, lightweight, light colors. Right? Sarah and I are both wearing, white. And, think about breathable materials, right? You don't want to wear something that's going to keep all the sweat in and, and make you sweat more. So those are, two things that are really important in the summer. You might also want to think about scheduling outdoor activities when it's the coolest. So before 10 a.m., after 4 p.m. is best. And when you're outside, pace yourself. Don't overexert, take your time. If you feel like you're getting overheated, sit down, rest in a shady area if possible, and drink plenty of fluids, regardless that you feel thirsty or not. So as we age, we tend to not feel thirsty as much as we used to when we were younger. And so we can dehydrate much quicker. So, having a bottle of water with you at all times and sipping water throughout the day, even though you don't feel really thirsty, is going to prevent you from dehydrating. Believe it or not, if you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
Yeah, 30%.
Yeah. So we recommend water. Stay away from sugary drinks, stay away from alcoholic drinks, stay away from caffeinated drinks. They all dehydrate you rather than hydrate you, even though they do feel good when you have them. They're not the best. If really you lost a lot of, if you sweat a lot or you lost, you overexerted yourself, you can maybe, have a sport drink to replenish minerals and electrolytes. But I wouldn't do it on a regular basis because the sports drinks are actually pretty sweet and sugary. So stay away from that. And then other things that you can do to cool off, when it's really, really hot, take some cold showers, stay barefooted, or even, pick a bucket with cold water or ice water and put your feet in it. We always say in the winter, like, if you have warm feet, you'll be warmer. Well, it's the same thing. If you have cold feet, you'll feel cooler. So that works well. I always sleep with a blanket on me, but in the summer, I stick my feet out and my feet are cooler. I feel cooler as well. And then, talking about bed, if it's really hot and you don't have AC, maybe go to bed with wet hair. That really helps. Oh, and I forgot. We have these really great scarves, cooling scarves. So these are cooling scarves with little beads inside. And so you dip it in cold water and the beads is going to absorb the water, the cold water. And then you can just put it around your neck or you could put it on your forehead, depending on what you like. And it will stay cooled for quite a while. And then when it's not cold anymore, you can just dip it in cold water again and reapply. So this is a great thing. It's super cheap. Find it on Amazon. Or anywhere else. I mean, I'm sure that sports stores have them. But anyway, this is a great tool to have, and it's, low maintenance.
I love that. That's wonderful. So cooling scarf you're recommending, that's different. I like that. And also, how about drinking hot beverages to cool off? What are your thoughts about that?
I know in hot countries, that's what they do to cool off. It actually clenches the thirst. I think that in our culture, we're not used to it. So I think people don't like it. I mean, I do. I drink hot tea all year round. I think that one of the things I would say, rather than maybe hot beverages, because I think a lot of people are because it's not in our culture, I would say drinking room temperature water would probably be the best. If you drink cold water, your body actually has to warm up the water to absorb it. So it's not like you're absorbing that water right away. So if you drink like a room temperature water, it's much better for your body. It doesn't make your body work as much to get hydrated.
Yeah, you'll hydrate yourself quicker.
If all else fails and you start overheating and you start getting signs of heat-related illnesses, let's talk about what they are and what you can do. So the first one, the mildest one, is you start having heat cramps. So suddenly, you overheated, you can't cool your body down, and suddenly you're getting muscle pain and spasm in your stomach, arms, and legs. Those are the signs of heat cramps. So, If that happens, stop physical activity and you move to a cooler place. Try to, slowly drink some water or sports drink to hydrate yourself and, just cool your body down. AC is gonna work wonders for you. If you're on low sodium diet or you have heart problems, call your doctor because that could be more serious for you. And also if the cramps continue after an hour, then definitely get medical help. If you get past that and you have heat exhaustion, so the symptoms of heat exhaustion would be heavy sweating, paleness, muscle spasms, weakness, fast or weak pulse, dizziness, headache, nausea, vomiting, even fainting. So you would do the same as above, stop all your activities, move to a cooler place, AC, drink some water, maybe, you want to go a little further, take a cold shower, put some, or a cool bath, put some, lighter clothes or, just get undressed completely and try to cool yourself down. Again, seek medical help if you're throwing up or your symptoms don't improve within an hour or so.
And really try to drink the water slowly. It could make you feel sick if you try to guzzle or drink something really fast. So really just slowly drinking is important.
Yeah. And then heat stroke. Heat stroke is a medical emergency. This is really bad. Symptoms are going to be a high body temperature of over 103 Fahrenheit. You're going to have red, hot, dry skin, probably no sweating at all at this point. A rapid, strong pulse, dizziness, confusion, and you can have changes in consciousness or even loss of consciousness completely. This is a medical emergency. If you are having a heat stroke and call 911, do so. Most likely somebody will have to call 911 for you, but that needs to be done right away. And as you're waiting for medical, for the help to come, you can try to, bring the person to a cooler place. Maybe if they're conscious enough, put them in a cold bath with ice to try to get that body temperature down. And if they're still conscious and they're not going in and out of consciousness, have them sip a little water. But if you can't do any of that, that's okay. Just wait for medical help. The most important thing is to call 911 right away. So other things you can do to prepare for extreme heat. The first thing we tell everybody is to sign up for your community's emergency notification system. This is super important. This is everybody should be signed up for those emergency notification system. If anything happens in your community, you will be alerted. If there is a heat emergency, you will be alerted. That message will give you where the cooling centers are. It will give you recommendations of what to do. So it's a plus. It's a must.
Yeah, and most of the time you can pick which kind of emergencies you want to be alerted to, so you can kind of tailor it to fit your needs. If you don't care about when school lets out or something, you can change that. And you can also, some of them have different languages that you can get alerts in, and also you can pick if you want email, phone, or
Texting.
text message. Yeah. And so Sophie always recommends if you just do, not to just do the call, because if you listen to the message, then it's gone. You can't hear it again. So if you do the phone call, add in either the text or the email so that you can refer back to it and actually read the alert through your email. But really important. I just recently signed up for my town's alert. And now I have two where I work too. So I have both of them. But
Quincy has Alert Quincy.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have Alert Brooklyn.
So who would people call to learn more about signing up? Would it be their city hall, town hall, community center?
I just Googled it. Yeah.
If you go on your community's website, usually you can find it there. It is a system that you have to have an email address to sign up. So you would go, so it's done by online. So you would create an account with your email address, create a password, And then once you have an account, you can select the type of alerts you want to receive, as well as how you want to receive them. You can select the language that you want to receive it in, or the languages. So yeah, that's how you would do it. We Googled it for Quincy, and it is on the website, on Quincy website.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I like how your tip, Sarah, to not just sign up for just the phone call, because like you said, the message is going to be gone. You might forget about it, but having 2 touch points, maybe, or 3, a text and then a
Yeah.
phone call and an email.
Exactly, because sometimes there's really specific information in there, like where the cooling centers are, and so you need to go back and refer to that. Message.
And you know, like if you are a person whose English is not the first language, having it written down will be helpful as well, to understand, or even to get it Google translated.
Great, wonderful. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
definitely have it in writing. So moving on from the alert system, you know, identify the cooling centers in your community. That kind of goes with the alerts, because when you get that message that there is a heat wave and that your community is opening up the cooling centers, they will give you where they are and when they're open.
Yeah, and even if your community doesn't have cooling centers, you can, you can seek out, like, the libraries a lot of times have air conditioning, or other buildings that may be open. I know our police station here in Brookline is open. It's a public safety building. It's open 24/7. There's a community room there, so usually there are some options, even if it's not an official opening of a cooling center. You can seek out some places that have AC.
Yeah. And yesterday we actually gave a presentation on summer preparedness, and somebody asked about, can I bring my pets? So, pets also need cooling, and, that's something that, if you have a pet, identifying cooling centers that will accept pets is important to do in advance. So something to think about.
And these are all good things to do ahead of summer. So, before it gets too hot, before we have the first heat wave, get this stuff done ahead of time if possible, just so that you're already prepared when it happens. You don't want to be scrambling around, when it's 110 degrees, looking for something. It's obviously better to just identify these places ahead of time.
Just along the lines of preparedness, also, perhaps looking at the weather for the week, or the next couple of days. So that way, you mentioned earlier, try to do the errands early in the morning when it's cooler, or maybe later in the evening. Just being strategic in how you could do your errands, do what you need to do, and still be able to keep yourself cool and safe.
Absolutely. And, we do it here in the winter all the time, right? We're always looking, if there's going to be a storm, when the storm is going to hit, when am I going to have to go food shopping to, before the storm. And we don't think about it in the summer, but it's really important to do it as well in the summer, because we get those extreme heat with high humidity, and really we shouldn't be going out, especially if we're older and more susceptible to extreme heat.
Yeah, and you're not going to be thinking straight if it's like 110 degrees. Like it's not, that just messes with your whole body. So
and your mind.
And your mind.
Yeah. So things you can do in your home as well to try to keep it as cool as possible. Cover your windows with drapes or shade. Don't let that sun come in and warm everything up. Try to keep it as as dark as possible, so that your place stays cool. Install your air conditioners early before the first heat wave. Now is a good time to start doing that, making sure they work. Installing is not just enough. Just test them. Make sure they work. If you have central air, same thing. It's not hot right now that you might want to have central, but, have them running for an hour. Just make sure that they actually work, and get them serviced beforehand. If your home isn't very well insulated, adding insulation to keep the heat out is a good thing to do. It also helps in the winter. Winter as well.
And there's a lot of programs out there that can help you with that as well. We recently did that in our house. So
Yeah, seek the programs. I mean,
Yep.
a lot of the utilities offer programs to actually add insulation or, and will give you money or will help you pay for a part of, the work that needs to be done in your
Mhm.
home. And talking about the utility providers, I know that running your AC can be quite expensive. So if you're having trouble with your electric bill, call your local utility provider and ask if you're eligible for a discount rate.
Mhm.
It doesn't hurt. Worse is they're gonna say no, but there are programs out there to that can maybe help you
Mhm.
to pay that bill.
Absolutely. So just as important, to keep your pets safe when it's hot. So if we're hot, our pets are hot as well. Don't ever leave your pet in the car, even if it's only for a few minutes, even if the window is open. I think if it's like 30 degrees hotter, at least in the car, like if it's 75 degrees outside, it's close to 100 in your car. So
And within minutes.
yes, yeah, it can happen really quickly. So if it's really that hot and you have to run an errand, just leave your pet at home. They'll be happier to not be in that hot car. And just like, like we're drinking water, make sure your pets have access to water as well. They're gonna drink when they're thirsty, but as long as they have access. When I leave my dog outside in the summer, I make sure I bring her bowl out there so she has the water when she's outside. And make sure they have a shady place to go, just at least the option. My dog just likes to lie right in the sun for hours. She gets really hot, but she doesn't want to be in the shade. So, obviously they're going to make their own decisions, but at least if they have a shady place to go, I mean, I don't leave her out for too long, knowing that she's just going to lie directly in the sun.
Your dog is my spirit animal.
Yeah. And then there's always the sidewalk test, which is a really good option when you're, thinking about taking your pet for a walk. Just take the back of your hand and touch it to the sidewalk. If it's too hot for you, it's going to be too hot for their paws. Those pads can get burned. Just like we can get burned. So make sure to do that sidewalk test, and just remember that different color surfaces are going to be hotter. So, the blacktop and the asphalt, if it's a dark color, if it's black, like the road, that's going to be hotter than, say, the sidewalk is like a lighter color cement or something. That's going to be a lighter option. So if you test the sidewalk, but you don't test the road, make sure you stay on the sidewalk or on those lighter colored surfaces, because they will be cooler. But, just,
And I mean, it's the same for people. If you are walking and on asphalt, you're going to feel much hotter than if you are on a lighter surface. So
Yeah.
if you're walking and, the sidewalk on the other side of the street is lighter or it's shadier, cross the street and walk that way.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
see the heat coming up,
Yes. Yeah.
off the street.
Yeah.
So it just gets really hot out there. And then, avoid excessive exercise on hot days. So, your pets don't need to be running around and doing crazy things, as well as yourself, but just, it just can be dangerous, for them to get overheated. And then make sure that you have your tick and flea meds on them, because that will bring us to our next topic.
So, we're talking about pets and flea and ticks meds. So unfortunately, there is an uptick in ticks. And the reason is that our winters are not as cold as they used to be. And so the ticks are not dying. And so we have a lot of ticks. And I just want to point out that ticks are not that we have ticks in our cities and our towns. So don't think that you're only gonna, pick up a tick if you go hiking in the woods. That is not true anymore. Lyme disease is a bacteria that is transmitted to humans through the bite of an infected black-legged tick, or also what we know as a deer tick. They're very, very, very small. We want to avoid contact with ticks at all costs. So avoid wooded and brushy areas, high grass, leaf litter, and stay in the middle of the path. They like the shade. They don't like the heat. If you are going into a park and you're resting in a shady area under a tree, for example, that would be a place where the ticks would be as well. So, one way to prevent the ticks to come to you is to use an insect repellent. For ticks, it is more recommended to use an insect repellent with DEET, DEET, which is the strongest insect repellent that we use. It works really well for ticks. You can just apply it on you, or you can put it, on your clothes. If you're, or in your shoes to kind of repel them, but it works really well.
And if someone asked us yesterday about the order of putting on like sunscreen and insect repellent, and which I thought was a great question. And we thought it would be best to put sunscreen on first and let that really absorb into your skin. And then as an outside, and then on top of that, to put the insect repellent over it, just because, mosquitoes and ticks are just
so some
hopefully
people
land.
do not want to put DEET. Picaridin is another insect repellent. I don't know if it works. If it's as efficient for ticks, but it's another one. The other thing is that there are clothing that you can buy that is treated with permethrin. So that's another option. If you're going to go hiking or if you're going to go in nature, try to wear clothes that are, long pants, long sleeves, light colored, because if it's light colored, you can see the ticks better if they're on you. So those are like little tips that you can do. But anyway, when you come home, you want to, take all your clothes off, put them in the dryer for an hour on high. And obviously, not if you're going to the supermarket, but if you've been out and you've been in contact with a little bit of nature, you've been under a tree, you sat on the grass,
tall grass,
that kind of thing. If you have any doubt, just, put all your clothes in the dryer an hour on high. Like I said, ticks don't like the heat. It kills them. And then you want to take a shower and check yourself. They're very sneaky. They love to hide. So, just looking on your arm isn't going to be enough, under your armpits, behind your knees, behind your ears, in your hair, try to really, really, check for them. If you find a tick on you, and it's bitten you, it's in you, you want to remove it as quickly as possible. So you can take a tweezer, or we have a little.
Yeah, you can use tweezers,
or there's this little
tick remover
tool. So it's like a little spoon. It has a little I don't know if you can see it well, but it has a little cutout. So you would want to put it as close to your skin as possible and under the tick, and then you want to remove it straight. You don't want to remove it sideways, because that's when you risk cutting the tick and leaving some of the tick in your skin. So very important. If you don't have a tool, you can use tweezers, go as close to your skin as possible, grab the tick and pull straight.
And make sure you've gotten the whole tick. You don't just scream and throw it. Like, you want to just really inspect it, and you probably need a magnifying glass to really
have the legs, the head, it's all out. Everything is out.
Exactly.
And then dispose of it. You can submerge it in alcohol, or just
flush it.
Don't crush it with your fingers or anything like that.
Or throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. So, if you have a dog, inspect your dog, inspect your bags. If you had bags, do all the inspection. Sometimes you don't have them on you, but you bring them in with your bag or with your pet. And then, they're in your house and they can come on you. If you find a tick, call your doctor right away. Tell them that you found a tick, and that, they will put you on antibiotic just in case. to prevent Lyme disease.
Mhm.
Yes.
I want to just share that, I'm glad that you covered the Lyme disease, because there is an uptick, literally. And I appreciate that you were specific in teaching us how to take the tick out, because, of course, you see something, a bug on you, you want to take it out the best way you can, the fastest way you can. But there is a trick to that. You have to do it upwards, right? So that way you don't leave any of the tick behind.
Absolutely, straighten up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you recommend before? So they'll call their doctor, but what should they do, to take care of the insect, the bite area? Should they wash it with soap and
Yeah,
water?
you can just wash it, disinfect it. Usually, disinfecting it would be fine.
Yeah.
I just want to maybe talk a little bit about what to look for.
Yeah, good.
If you got, let's say that you got bit by a tick, but you never saw the tick, so you have no clue, right? Let's
Which
say,
happens
which
often.
happens a lot, right? So some of the symptoms to look for. The early symptoms are really hard because it's really like a flu-like symptom. You're gonna be like, fever, chills, fatigue, maybe some muscle and joint aches, swollen lymph nodes. And then, there's that typical bullseye rash that everybody knows about Lyme, right? That's the Lyme disease. If you have the bullseye rash, you have Lyme disease, which is true. But unfortunately, the bullseye rash doesn't appear in most cases of Lyme disease. Sometimes it appears, but it disappears very quickly. And sometimes there's other rashes that appear that are not as common or as known, but there's still signs of Lyme disease. So if you see any rash on you that could look like a bruise, or that, looks strange, like you don't understand why it's there, take a picture right away. Very important. Take a picture right away, because by the time you go to your doctor, that rash could have disappeared. So take a picture so you can show your doctor, and they can tell you, oh, yes, this was Lyme disease, or this was not Lyme disease. I just want to say, like, my son had Lyme disease after we went on vacation in Gloucester. Luckily for us, I saw the bullseye rash on him. So I took a picture, I called my doctor, we took a picture right away, and we took him into the office. And he actually had other types of rashes on him, which I thought were bruises. I mean, he was a kid, so it's not uncommon for kids to have bruises all over the place, right? Well, they were actually Lyme disease rash.
Yeah, and my son also had Lyme disease, and I saw the target. It was behind his ear. But I want to mention that it doesn't look exactly like a target. It's not like it's a perfect circle, with the perfect red center. It's kind of like you could miss it easily if you weren't. I just want to mention that it's not like, okay, it's a perfect, like the target circle. That's exactly what it looked like. No, it's like kind of jagged and edge. And, I happened to take a picture of it, and it was Lyme disease. And so I'm glad I took the picture. But I just want to say it doesn't always look like this perfect circle. That's the perfect color red or whatever. It can vary. And it's a good point to know about the other rashes that they can just, so yeah, like Sophie said, anything out of the ordinary, you just want to be have your eyes and ears open.
So if you catch Lyme disease at its early stages, it is treatable with antibiotics. It becomes an issue if you wait too long, and then it gets harder. So the late symptoms of Lyme disease are severe headaches and neck stiffness, arthritis, facial and Bell's palsy, heart palpitation, inflammation of the brain and spinal cord, nerve pain, and problems with short-term memory. You still want to get treated, obviously, even if you wait till delayed symptoms, obviously they're going to treat you. And for some people, the treatment works. Unfortunately, sometimes Lyme disease becomes chronic.
Yeah.
And people struggle with a lot of symptoms, which is
Yeah.
why if you have been outdoors, if you have any doubt, of, go to the doctor and ask to be tested for Lyme disease. It doesn't hurt.
Mhm. Yeah.
You have flu-like symptoms.
I agree, because when I used to work on a cardiology unit a long time ago, we had a patient who, and this is when I really appreciated how severe Lyme disease can be. A young gentleman came in and he had palpitations, and just, after, doing physical exams and asking about, what his lifestyle was. He did a lot of baseball, outdoor type, and he looked healthy, but then he had this palpitation that, seemed to just kind of started happening. And it was traced down to, Lyme's disease. So, it's something really it's something for all of us to kind of, keep top of mind, especially during the warmer weathers, and especially if we're outdoors. You can be, like you said, sitting in the park in the shade. You could be playing golf and you grab that ball and it happens to be in the bushes, you don't necessarily have to be hiking.
And that's why it's scary with those early symptoms, because they're very flu-like. So you may just think like, oh, I'm getting sick. I have a summer cold, or, something like that. So it's really easy to mistake those symptoms for just, okay, I'm getting sick,
Yeah. Advocate for yourself when you go to the doctor and ask for a Lyme disease test.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do.
Yeah, easy enough to do. Yeah.
And so if we go to the next slide, we can't talk about ticks without talking about mosquitoes as well. And so in Massachusetts, yes, again, we have our insect repellent. In this region, we have seen West Nile virus and also Triple E. And these are both viruses that can't be treated with antibiotics. And so the best way to avoid these viruses is just prevention. So a lot of what we already talked about, but kind of, if you can avoid going outdoors or just, having activities after dusk or before dawn, that's really when you're going to see an increase in mosquitoes. Like Sophie just showed, the insect repellent also, containing DEET or Picaridin is going to be helpful. And just also wearing long sleeves when possible. I think you can probably still get bits through some fabrics, but it will still help to be a little bit more covered up. And just also making sure on your home that your screens don't have holes in them. I recently took a bunch of my screens into the hardware store to get rescreened because, insects and bugs can just come right in if you have any type of, if they're compromised at all. So make sure your screens are in good shape. And then most importantly, a lot of mosquitoes are going to, their breeding sites are where there's standing water. So anything you can do to get rid of any standing water around your house is going to be really helpful to eliminating those breeding sites. So whether it's your watering can, that you just make sure you don't leave water in that, flower pots, puddles, even bird baths, stuff like that, are going to be breeding sites. So
they really don't need much water to breed.
Right.
They really don't.
All right, next slide.
Yeah, next slide. So we're working out here from our person to environmental insects to our large challenge of hurricanes. And so we just want to talk a little bit about being prepared. And as you can see on the slide, hurricane season has already started June 1st. So It's not too late though to prepare. So I realize, we know we're not in the South, but we can still get large hurricanes up here, and still a really good idea to try to get some of these preparedness things done ahead of time, like on a blue sky day like today. So we brought in our display go bag or emergency kit to show that this is one thing that you can do ahead of time, or get started as soon as you can to build an emergency kit. And this could be useful if you were evacuating your home for a really large storm or flooding, or even if you had to shelter in place. A lot of these items would be good to have in a central location. So we actually do a whole separate unit on creating these go bags, but we're just going to show a few of the items that are essential. So having a flashlight is important to keep in there. It can either be battery or crank operated. If it's battery operated, make sure to store some extra batteries in your kit as well. And then this is our Radio Shack radio. And, this is, I know where everyone's so attached to their phones and everything, but if we don't have power, or
Your battery dies.
your battery dies, there's no service, having this old school radio is going to come in handy to find out what's happening, or just to listen to music to keep you sane. Here we have our Mylar blanket, emergency blanket. I love this item because it's super compact, and it's going to keep you really warm. Also, good idea to store your medication or extra medication in your emergency kit. Extra phone chargers. We all have devices. We want to keep those charged up. Don't let your battery go down to 5%. I charge my phone every night, and also your computers and other devices. Just a good idea to keep everything charged up. Also, if you have like an external or portable charger, keep those charged as well.
Sarah's favorite item.
My favorite item is this an entire roll of toilet paper without the cardboard roll that's compressed. It's so lightweight. Everybody needs toilet paper, and it's just my favorite item. This is our file of life, of course. And so we're just recommending you keep a second file of life in your kit, because that has all your emergency contacts in it. And this is a document bag that is, like I say, it's sprinkle proof, because it's really just kind of like
It's a Ziploc.
It's a Ziploc bag, but a really good option to keep your emergency contacts or vital documents, maybe a little bit of cash, because if there's a giant storm and the ATMs are out, and we don't have that capability, then always good to have a little bit of cash on hand. And then these are just a few documents to help get you ready for a communication plan, and just a disaster like emergency plan. And so we have other items in here.
Yeah, food, water.
But we recommend 3 to 5 days of food and water. Your bag is going to be tailored to you. It's going to have what makes you happy, entertainment items. If you're a big reader, throw a book in there. So, but just a good thing to have. Medication is important. Anything that you can't store in your go bag, like if you have medication that needs to be refrigerated, we just recommend that you stick like a note on top of your bag that says, don't forget to grab my medication in the fridge, and my extra charger, or my hearing aid batteries, or whatever it is, contacts. And so just make a note so that you remember, okay, I have to grab these things, but everything else should be in my go bag.
I love that.
So that's one thing you can do ahead of time. Testing your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors is also a good idea. I try to change my batteries every year.
When you change
Yeah.
time. When you change
When you change
in
the
fall and the
clocks.
spring.
Exactly. Also, good point. You just reminded me that you want to check your go bag twice a year as well. And you're going to be looking for expired food, expired medications, expired vital documents. If anything has changed, your insurance, things like that. Make sure all that stuff is updated. So it does take a little bit of maintenance, but it's easier to maintain than it is if you didn't have anything put together. And then, maybe a good idea to check your homeowner's insurance policy for any kind of flood or damage coverage. And then, like I mentioned before about your devices being charged, same thing if you have a car to keep your gas tank full as well. And then during the storm, might be important to unplug like devices, computers, any type of sensitive equipment that could be damaged if there's a power surge or if the power goes out. So unless you have a surge protector, might be a good idea to unplug those things. And, report a power outage as soon as possible. I get text messages from National Grid before a storm saying that they're preparing for a storm and just reminding me how to report an outage. So you could report to, you could call 911 or your local, utility company to do that. And then you want to stay away from any downed wires that might be outside or anything that's in contact with a down wire, stay away from. And never install a generator inside your home as well. So really important to keep those generators outside. And then, of course, we, sign up for your local emergency notification system. We have to just reiterate that because that's such a important tool for everybody. And then after the storm, you can check appliances for damage. Make sure, if you have lost power, check your food for freshness. Try not to open, if you have lost power, try not to open your fridge and freezer if you can. Try to keep it closed to keep the cool air in. But, realize after a couple of days, a lot of your food is going to be spoiled. So we don't need anyone getting sick from eating spoiled food. So make sure you're on top of that and that you're taking pictures of any damage that's occurred like outside.
For the insurance, that would be important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just also want to point out when you're preparing for a storm, if you have outdoor patio with furniture, make sure that they're secure or bring them in so that they don't fly around and make damage or injure people.
Yeah, good point. Check your drains, check your gutters, kind of prepare the outside of your home for things that could fly away or get clogged.
Very good point.
So we just put some of our websites on here that we use. The top one is the Office of Emergency Management website. Sophie has a lot of great information on her website. So there's emergency checklists and information on go bags and all sorts of important resources.
So the website is designed, it's Be Ready, Be Safe, Be Informed. If you go to Be Ready, you will have a lot of information on how to prepare yourself. So, everything from go bag to file of life, vital documents, communication plans, pet preparedness. There are checklists on the website that you can print out. So great resource there.
Ready.gov is another great one that we use all the time for emergency preparedness. Mass.gov and also the MEMA website have incredible information as well for everything, a lot of what we've talked about today and more. And then finally, just the beachumbrellasafety.org is what I reference for a lot of the umbrella safety.
So I want to thank both of you for being on the Aging Strong program. And I also want to thank the Quincy Health Department for sponsoring the program. So until next time, again, I want to thank you, Sophie. I want to thank you, Sarah, for being on this program. Everybody, until next time, stay safe and be healthy. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you, Debbie.
Bye-bye.